On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
Acura dares to drive beyond standard. A torque-vectoring super-handling all-wheel drive system, standard in the Acura RDX. Panoramic moonroof and premium 3-row seating, standard in the Acura MDX. Sound that surrounds you, an 18-speaker Bang & Olufsen premium sound system comes standard in the all-electric ZDX, the Acura RDX, ZDX, and MDX, where precision meets craftsmanship. Visit Acura.com to learn more.
At Starbucks, we offer full and part-time baristas 100% upfront college tuition coverage, which means they can thrive at our company and in class. At Starbucks, benefits like college tuition coverage are just the start.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to a regular, non-bonus episode of Ratchet and Respectable. I'm so glad that damn Diddy trial is over. Oh my God. You think I'll be able to get my rest back? Kind of, sort of. I guess I haven't recorded an episode since last. Nope, one went up on Friday, 4th of July. That was the last bonus episode, at least for the Diddy trial, or at least I should say until October 3rd. That's when the defense and the prosecution have agreed to do sentencing. I have no idea how much time this man is going to serve in jail. But if you didn't have a chance to listen to that episode, I mean, it did drop on the 4th of July. That episode is an interview with our good friend, former Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Fox. We love Kim. Kim is amazing. But she had thoughts and insights and perspective on what's next for Diddy. I mean, his sentencing for sure, but also the impact of the trial on the culture, the message that it sends to victims, the message that it sends to women who speak up. It was a very candid, very transparent. If you listen to the episode, you'll understand what I mean. Kim gave a lot of herself and her history, and I thank her very much. This week, we do have a bunch of things to talk about. I had a list. Do we need to stick to that list? It was Simone Biles' boobies. She bought a set of boobs. You know, she's a gymnast. Like, she's all muscle. Let me phrase this correctly. She didn't have as much as she wanted, clearly, in the upper area. And so she went and paid good money for good work. You know what we say here when we see good cosmetic surgery? We say, who's the surgeon? She went and got a nice set, and she's been posting a whole bunch of pictures in bikinis. So, you know, so that we see the set. Like, girl, we see it. You did good. You did good. It's appropriate size. Whoever the surgeon was did good work. Good for Simone. What else do we have on this list? Janet Jackson and Maxwell were spotted out and about. I saw the headlines first and I was like, wait, two people can't just take a walk together? Why can't a woman just be out with a man? It doesn't always have to. Then I saw they was holding hands. I am giddy. Let me tell you, did you watch The Gilded Age on Sunday? The black girl, Peggy, is my favorite character. So is the little villain mom. And Peggy went and found herself a nice doctor who is smitten with her and has been pushing up. So Peggy's mom and Peggy's auntie are very excited about Peggy dating this man. Their level of excitement about Peggy dating this doctor from a good family is my level of excitement seeing Janet Jackson and Maxwell walking down the street. I was like, this could be a beautiful collaboration. They're very beautiful people. They're visually stunning. They're age appropriate. They're both in their 50s. Obviously, they both have musical talent. I don't necessarily know that I want them to make music together, but like, we've been knowing Maxwell since I remember my freshman year of college. It might have been orientation. School might have actually not started yet, but Maxwell was performing on Maryland's campus for $5 because nobody knew who he was yet. It was just the first album, and I didn't go to the show. I knew who he was because he had like one single out and the single was cool. But I was like, I don't know. I think I'll go to the club. I'll go to the Ritz. You know, I have paid good money over the years to go see Maxwell, and I could have seen that man for $5. We've been knowing him since 1996. I can't name you anybody that Maxwell has dated. I had assumed maybe he didn't, date women. It's almost like the Luther effect. I find that male celebrities who are never seen with anybody, it's not they ain't got nobody. It's like they usually have somebody that they don't feel the public would approve of, or it may hurt their career if people found out who they were dating. Is it gender? Sex. Gender. If he was dating a man, is what I'm trying to say. I just, I thought maybe it was that kind of situation. It doesn't bother me one way or another. It's not like I was dating him. As long as you make good music and hit your high notes at your live performances, which he does. I do know I went to see that show with the orchestra at the Kennedy Center, and he ain't played Pretty Wings, and I was like, bruh, I just paid all this money for these up close seats right smack in the center, and you didn't do my favorite song? Maybe it's some licensing issues. I don't know. I say all that to say, I didn't know whether or not he dated women. And apparently he does, because now he dating Janet Jackson. Two very attractive people don't walk around smiling with all their teeth out and holding hands if ain't nothing going on between them. I approve it. Not that they ask for my approval, but I'm just saying I give it. Like, they're really cute. And they look really happy. And I was like, oh, I like it. I like it better than I did her and Jermaine Dupri. How you fumble Janet Jackson? What else is on this list? Oh, I guess we might as well just get to it. I mean, it's the heart of today's episode and the title. Essence Fest. Essence Fest. Essence Fest. I did not attend this year. I was online over the weekend. I did see that people who did attend had many thoughts. Many thoughts. The overall conversation was people just did not have a good time. There were delays on Friday night. Lauryn Hill was the headliner for the night. She didn't leave the stage until I think I read 3:30 in the morning. And it wasn't Lauryn Hill's fault. Lauryn Hill is known not to be very timely, to put it diplomatically. But this time it wasn't Lauryn Hill's fault. The programming had been off by a couple hours the entire night. There was also an issue with the super lounges, which have traditionally always been free. If you had tickets to the concert, then you could watch the main stage, or you could wander over to the super lounge. Essence was charging for the super lounge this year, which people were outraged by, to the point that Essence released a statement during the festival apologizing, saying, we got it wrong. There were concerns about the sound. Stephanie Mills wrote an open letter that she posted shortly after festival ended. I saw an open letter from Mia X. She said Essence listed her as a performer without ever, talking to her. They said that they relied on the word of Master P, and she was like, I'm not Master P. Like, I'm me, and you should have reached out to me to figure that out. And then there were overall concerns. One of them is Black Americans feeling that Essence is not centering Black American culture. There's the idea that, quote and unquote, Africans, I'm literally repeating what I've seen all over the internet, not like people from Africa, from a specific country in Africa, just Africans. So just people from the continent of Africa who are taking over the festival, and they're not centering African American culture, and they're trying to outsource the festival to Nigeria. I haven't worked at Essence in years. I still do know people that work over there. I know just enough to know, like, when some things are just blatantly wrong. How do I want to say this? One of the women, a popular woman who at one time was very much the face of Essence, I realized maybe like 6 months ago, like when they were promoting the festival, I hadn't seen her in a while. And she has a very striking physical presence. Like, she likes to do a lot with the hair, the makeup, the clothes. I asked, a friend, and I was like, hey, does someone still work there? And the response was, it's complicated. I was like, it's a yes or no question. Like, is the person employed there or not? Like, does she come to work? And they were like, has she been in the office? And I was like, okay, like you're encouraging me to ask the question a different way. I said, when was the last time you saw the lady in the office? And the response was, last year after festival. I was like, are you telling me it's been a whole year since you've seen the woman in the office? Yes. So I asked again. I said, does she work there? Complicated. I'm just telling you the information I received. You make of that information what you will. One of the other big concerns that kept coming up about the festival was the presence of influencers. People were saying all these influencers are down there they're going to events that the public doesn't have access to. And they felt like Essence was catering to influencers over people who had actually paid their money, paid for their hotel, paid for their flight to be down there. It's not an inexpensive trip. At minimum, it's like 4 or 5 G's if you're going to the concerts every night. Another one was Target being a sponsor of Essence. Walmart was the sponsor before, which I only know because I used to go down there with Walmart. I don't remember when Walmart went out and Target came in, but Target has been a sponsor of Essence Festival for multiple years. As you are well aware, there is a nationwide boycott against Target. Not so good for them to be hosting one of, if not the largest Black festival in the country. So I saw a lot of commentary online. Some things I knew to be inaccurate, especially the woman who's being blamed, like the quote unquote African who's in charge. The lady is actually African, but literally she ain't been in the office in a year. The owner of Essence is in fact Liberian. I don't know how involved he is day to day in the festival, but I was like, Essence isn't his only brand. Like, he's running several. Like, I was like, I very much doubt he's involved in like the day to day logistics of like the festival, and like has given a mandate saying, replace all this African American culture with everybody else's. Possible. Anything's possible. But I was like, is it likely? So I saw all these conversations online, and I was like, who actually is running the festival? I was like, who is the HNIC? I was told to go find Michael Barklay. He was available on Instagram. And on his Instagram page, his title is listed as the Chief Events Officer for the Essence Festival of Culture. I sent him a DM and said, hey, like, can we get on the phone? Can we have a little chit chat? Because, you know, there's lots of conversation about Essence. And I would love to actually talk to somebody at Essence about all the conversation about what's going on with Essence, what's going on with the festival. You know, people are saying so many things and I have so many questions. And I really didn't expect him to say yes, to be 110% with you. One, because festival just ended and I used to work it. Like, Essence will have you out there working like a rented mule for the weeks leading up to festival and especially during festival. He responded back in like 15 minutes. He was like, sure, let's set it up. Here's my number. Hit me. So we spoke about the festival earlier today. We had a nice little conversation. And he cleared up some things about Target, about other cultures from the diaspora being featured at Essence Festival, the thinking behind that. What else did we talk about? The Stephanie Mills open letter and some of the behind the scenes process of pulling together an event like Essence Festival. I'll tell you one thing up front, the rest of you can listen to in the interview. Mr. Barclay is from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He graduated from North Carolina A&T, and he is a member. I said, are you a Kappa? He said, I am a member, have been such for 25 years of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I also asked him, I said, so I just want to be clear, like, I was asking him like it was Harlem Nights. I was like, you are in charge of the festival. You are in charge of the festival. He's like, I am in charge of the festival. I like to find facts. So I went and I spoke to Michael Barklay, and I'm not going to say more. I'm going to ask you to welcome the Chief Events Officer of the Essence Festival of Culture to Ratchet and Respectable.
Today's top story, the flavor merger of the century between the Peanut Butter Group and Chocolatey Corp. Joining me is a PBC executive.
Thanks for having me, Barry.
Now, how did you know the merger and the byproduct of it, Jif peanut butter and chocolate flavored spread, would be a success?
You know, it was a gut feeling, a rumbling, if you will. Besides, they're two titans of taste.
Very true. Goes great with pretzels.
And pancakes.
Apples too, I bet. Try Jif PBC today.
Hit pause on whatever you're listening to and hit play on your next adventure. Stay 2 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western. Visit bestwestern.com for complete terms and conditions.
Michael Barklay, welcome to Ratchet and Respectable.
Thank you so much, Demetria. I'm very happy to be here this morning.
Have we met before? When I DM'd you to ask if you would come on the show, like I went through your friend list in case you didn't get back to me. I was like, who do I know that knows him? And I saw that we had so many friends in common.
We have us in common from our Brooklyn days. I was in Brooklyn, Fort Greene. I feel like the two Isises.
Yep.
Arlene.
Yep.
I can't remember what event it was, but it was an event that I did that I gave you and Arlene a ride home afterwards in the car.
No, look, those are my party days.
Exactly. So I saw it. I saw him saying it, but I was like, no, we go way back. Like we go back to my Bed-Stuy days. So yeah.
Yes. So I'm very happy to be reacquainted.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. How did you enjoy your Essence this year?
I enjoyed it, to be honest. I am very proud of this year's Essence Fest. I know that um may sound crazy considering all the chatter, but I know what we went through as a team to actually be able to deliver this for our community. So I'm very, very proud of what the team did this year. So I'm walking away head up, head high. We know what needs to be done, but I'm very happy about what we were able to do this year.
What goes into making an Essence Fest? This is a year-long effort, if I recall correctly.
It is a constant effort as far as just the continuity of planning. I've been thinking about it this week, and as somebody who's been an experiential professional for over 20 years now, Essence Festival culture is really more than just a festival in the naming, right?
For
It's
sure.
honestly a combination of three of the most difficult types of events or experiences to create logistically, operationally, and we do it all in one weekend.
Yeah.
You got a convention, basically, that has, nearly 100,000 people walking through the halls of the convention center. That's one. You have a small business marketplace with over 200 marketplace vendors that have to be facilitated. The operations and all of that had to be developed, the infrastructure there. And then you have a weekend concert series with some of the biggest names and talent in the world. And we do it all in a span of 3 to 4 days. And we're planning it all at the same time. So it is really miraculous what we do when you consider the pieces of the whole thing.
And you're over all of this as the Chief Events Officer.
I am over all of this as the Chief Events Officer. It sounds crazy to say that, but it is true.
I mean, it's the title in the bio, sir. Own it and claim it.
Yes, it's because you know how it is when you're in it. Sometimes it's hard to kind of pull back and see kind of the full breadth of it, because it has been, just we've been in the trenches and just trying to make this festival and bring it to the community. It really is what we're really striving to do.
What has been different about the festival this year as opposed to other years? And I'm specifically thinking about in terms of rollbacks with DEI, with sponsorships, just the economy overall. Like, people ain't got it. They might have had it last year. What sort of issues, if any, were you facing with the festival this year?
We had quite a few headwinds this year. Definitely DEI rollbacks. That had a huge impact on our sponsorship, which allows us to keep the festival accessible to the communities, which is very important to us, especially the convention center. As the convention center space, all of that happens in the convention center is free to the public, and it is not a cheap undertaking to execute nearly 1 million square feet of convention center space. So that definitely had a huge impact on us. Of course, the economy, and people just, it's understandable. There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the economic climate right now, the political climate. If I have to pick over, choose between taking a trip to New Orleans and, paying the rent, that's an easy and clear, decision to make. So, that definitely affected us as well. And to be honest, the boycotts and so forth, I think there was some confusion about who exactly you should be boycotting. And I think we caught a bit of that as well. So yeah, it was a very interesting year, but I don't think the issues that we face aren't exclusive to us. This is just currently the state. It's the state of the state, state of the world and state of what's going on. And we understand, we're affected in the same ways that, many other properties, entities, and so forth.
Well, can I address one of the elephants in the room,
Yes.
which is the Target sponsorship? It's not like a contract that you can break, but there was or there is an active boycott against Target, and it's a major festival sponsor. Could the festival have happened without the Target sponsorship?
It would have been a much different festival, and honestly, I think there would have been more complaints. If there was no Target, we would have had to charge for the convention center.
Mm.
And that is something we've never done, because that was the whole point of having that piece where you can come and experience all the different conversations, topics, deal with our vendors and the so-called market. All of that would have been a completely different experience without the support of Target.
Was there ever a conversation about backing out of that deal and just taking the fallout?
We've had a lot of conversations. I don't think it ever came to the point where we would consider backing out of the deal because, again, as you mentioned, it is a multi-year partnership. Target has been with us for the last few years. So I think more of the conversation was about, how do we support and show up for the community while, being understanding of what is happening in reality as far as, the boycotts and the sentiment. So that was more of the conversation and less about pulling out of that agreement and partnership.
What was your favorite moment in the festival? Or moments, if you could, I don't know if you can choose one.
So many moments. I'm gonna go personal. Personally, I don't know if you remember the Columbia House CDs back in the day when you get like 18 CDs for $1.
Yes.
Or maybe a penny. One of the Columbia House CDs that I remember that my mom used to burn a hole in was Whip Appeal by Babyface.
Yeah.
And Babyface shut it down. Like, his performance was so incredible. And he really came out there to let you know, you might know some of the Babyface songs, but do you know all the songs that I wrote for other people that were hits? And that just, the energy was incredible during that time. I think the other favorite parts is just the unscripted things, and things that you could only get at Essence Fest, like Chris Tucker dancing to Michael Jackson at the Superdome and it going on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
Get that anywhere else. Or, shout out to our ASL interpreters. Like, our American Sign Language crew is undefeated. I mean, they were getting it. So I think the things that I love the most are the things that I can actually say, this is us, and you can't do this anywhere else or get this experience anywhere else.
My big FOMO moment, because I didn't go this year, Jill Scott, Patti LaBelle, and Jasmine Sullivan all on the same stage. And I was like, oh, I would have flown in just for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and our curations are undefeated. Shout out to the talent team. They put it on.
So one of the other things that I wanted to ask about, one of the conversations that's happening is I shouldn't say the accusation, the allegation, the suspicion, maybe is a better word, that Essence Festival is no longer centering African Americans and that there are quote and unquote Africans behind the scenes that are trying to steal the festival away. They're introducing other elements from other cultures, and it's pushing out Black American culture. And the incidents that I have seen listed of this are, there was a Jambalaya versus Jollof event, and I was like, are we mad about rice? But okay. There was a performance by Davido, and I was like, wait, because I thought we loved Davido because like Fall was a huge hit. And then there's an interview that the owner of Essence, Rich, did, indicating that there may be an idea to do an Essence Festival culture in Nigeria at some point. And so people are saying that they feel pushed out. What do you say to accusations that Essence is no longer centering African American culture?
That's unfortunate because we really are at the core African American. However, we're also Black. What you see is connecting those Black dots throughout the diasporas to show that we are one community. The Battle of Jollof partnership that we did with our sponsor AT&T was a brilliant idea because, again, you got jambalaya, you got jollof, you got all the different versions of this dish that are rooted in our homeland of Africa, and it has been delivered throughout the world in its different forms because of again, the transatlantic slave trade, and we're bringing it all back together. It was a great event. Again, it's all about our similarities and not our differences. To your point, who doesn't love Davido? Who doesn't love Buju Banton? Like, if you don't love that as a part of just Black culture, I don't know how you could be satisfied, because it's really about bringing it all together. And what needs to be recognized is that Essence is a crown jewel of Black culture globally. So it's not about taking it away from us. It's about sharing and bringing things together throughout the diaspora, because that's what's really important, is us coming together as a unit, as a people, versus being desperate and apart from each other.
Where are you from?
I am from North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
You went to A&T?
I am a proud Aggie of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're a Kappa as well?
I am also a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm going on my line trip with my LBs tomorrow. Our 25th Kappa-versary we'll be celebrating, so yes.
Would you put on an event that was made for African-American culture? Would you put on an event that didn't center African-American culture? Would you change it to erase African-American culture?
Never.
Okay.
Unlike what you may have heard, both sides of my family from Talladega, Alabama. So I'm so African-American, it's crazy. So I don't know who these Africans are that are trying to steal the culture, but I am not one of them.
Well, I've seen people, specifically named, and to my knowledge, like a couple of them don't even work at Essence anymore.
Right.
I know you can't comment. I'm just saying it. I know you can't comment, but I was just like, she hasn't worked there in like almost a year. But okay, sure, fine. We're moving on. Stephanie Mills released the statement. She was unhappy with some things that happened behind the scenes before she was performing. She was unhappy with the sound. Can you explain what happened with Stephanie Mills, or going on with her concerns? I don't want to put it just on her.
Yep. We got that open letter, and we've been investigating to just get down to the bottom of what happened, and what we can do to improve moving forward. She was in a new experience. We brought back the super lounges, so a new area. There was some learnings, I'm sure, that need to come out of that. I'm still waiting to get a full report on exactly what happened, because I actually wasn't up there when her performance. I understand, and again, I get it. Everybody wants to make sure that they're performing at the best of their capability, because ultimately the fans want to see the best. And so I'm not upset about it. We'll take that and add that to things that we are looking to improve for next year.
When you hear Lululemon, you probably think of Align yoga pants, weightlessly soft, like you're wearing next to nothing. That's why you see them in class, at the grocery store, and in the park. But did you know about skirts with built-in liner shorts so you can still jump for the Frisbee? And tanks and bodysuits? With Align's iconic stretch, you won't want to take it off. And with endless style options, you don't have to. Shop in-store or online at Lululemon.com.
I just MailChimped my marketing.
You MailChimped your what?
I MailChimped my marketing with AI to create an effective marketing campaign in minutes.
No, MailChimp and Way.
Yes, MailChimp and Way. Now I can hyper-personalize my campaigns across email and SMS.
You can do all that with MailChimp.
What did I just MailChimp and say?
MailChimp your marketing with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-ons. Visit MailChimp.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
From your perspective, what do you think Essence needs to do differently for the festival?
What do we need to do differently for the festival? That's a very loaded question.
Of course it is.
It's hard to say, to be honest, because we're quite literally, I jumped out of one of our kind of post-mortem recap meetings to get on this interview with you. So we're really digging through to see, what fell, what was within our control, what was not. I think what we will continue to do will be as transparent as we can be with our community, and we will also continue to listen. We get a lot of love and we get a lot of hate. I'm a glass half full type of guy, bright side guy. I'd rather have something that the community is passionate about than something that they don't care about at all. We have a community that when they see responsiveness, they will come with us as well. There'll be complaints, there'll be things that they would like for us to improve upon, which again, we take it all. And when we do make those shifts and changes, we get the same detractors will come back and say, okay, Essence, you got it right. So I think it comes from a place of care for what we're building. And we are grateful that we actually have something that people actually care about. Be nice to get some of that criticism a little more constructively positioned, but we'll take it and we'll go back and see what we can do for 2026. But we're already working on it as we speak.
A couple things. I think you know who your audience is. Like Black women, when we're happy, we let you know. When we're unhappy, we let you know too. I also feel like the feedback that's been coming over the last couple of days, I liken it to when you're in a relationship with someone and things aren't quite going the way you want, and they're talking to you because they're invested. They still want to see the potential reached. And I think when people stop talking and they just move on to something else, when they check out, that's when it becomes a problem. So I still think that there's opportunity here to engage with the audience and hopefully address their concerns.
Absolutely. And we welcome that. And again, if you look at it on the bright side, it's a good problem to have because they could not be interested at all. Like you said, the conversation could be over and that's when it's really over. So, yeah.
Wonderful to hear that you are hearing, I don't know how you could miss it, but hearing the feedback that y'all are aware of what's, go ahead.
And we're hearing the good stuff too. I mean, not get it, twisted. I love the positive that's also coming out for the people that did come.
What are you hearing that's positive? I know some things, but tell me from your perspective.
Well, people enjoyed the experience. They love the programming. I think we nailed the programming in the convention center this year, the topics, the people, the things that we were discussing that were so timely across all those stages. Shout out again, editorial and content team. Y'all did your thing. I think we nailed the lineup. The thing that we typically get hit for, at least since I've been here, this is my fourth Essence Fest. The lineup is what is very much a point of contention. I didn't hear much negative about the lineup this year. I think it was the sweet spot for celebrating Essence 55th. We had some great moments, some great curations on that stage. But then also, the vibe of it being the homecoming of, Black culture was still there. So people were still in the streets, enjoying themselves, reuniting with their friends and family, both, celebrity and, just regular folks. Like it's really everybody gets to come together and reunite. And I think that's the thing that you can't take from Essence Festival culture. Like we bring the joy, we bring the Black joy, we bring the people together. You get the opportunity to come decompress amongst your people for the weekend and you get to go back out into the world, which is not so friendly to us right now, right? So you get to refill your cup on us and then go back and do what you got to do. So I saw a lot of that and I'm seeing a lot of that on social now too. The negative voices are, typically the loudest, but there are a lot of positive stories out there as well that people are sharing and I really appreciate that.
Agreed. I definitely did see people that had an amazing time.
We'll keep pushing because the thing that we are doing is to try to keep this for the culture and for the people. And that's the work that we're doing to make sure that this sustains year over year. We did 31 years. We want to do another 31. So you'll see some changes, but it's all so that we can sustain and keep this moving because, just doing anything for 30 plus years is a feat. And in this environment, this economy, this, the political climate, all of the things, it's become vastly more difficult than maybe the Essence Fest that you remember or you used to.
It's evolving. Would you say that?
Absolutely. It has to. If it doesn't evolve, it will die. And we don't want that to happen.
Ooh, one last question.
What's up?
There were, I should say, concerns about the number of influencers. I don't know if that's an Essence issue or a brand issue, but a lot of people did mention like there were so many influencers.
I hadn't heard that concern. What's the issue with there being influencers? Just want to be clear.
People felt like the festival was geared more toward people who were brought down as influencers. They felt like they got like more attention, more events, and a better experience than people who had paid to be there.
Yeah, I'm not sure, where that would sit. But what I would say, just from my years of being in the marketing and advertising space, that's just a shift in the marketing and advertising strategies. It's really more who are the content creators that can come and basically be, pun intended, the boots on the ground, to share the story and amplify what's happening here. So I really think, and again, I like to look at the quote unquote influencers as more as the content creators and really kind of the broadcast folks for whether it was the different brands, the different experiences, or some of the ones that we invited down. So it's really more like that versus, we're not trying to replace the community with influencers. We're actually hoping that the influencers help to tell the story of what Essence Fest is on their channels and in their communities.
Okay. Well, I hope to be back next year. I've been going since 2009. I've only missed a couple years. One of them, I think I was out of the country. Another one, my birthday is like July 9th today. So like I'm always in conflict of like working Essence and then trying to do something for my birthday. So hopefully I'll be back next year.
It doesn't have to be a conflict. My birthday is July 6th.
Oh,
so we equals.
I've spent so many birthday celebrations in New Orleans. I just didn't want to be worn out. You know how it is at Essence. You go and go and go, and then you're like dead for 2 days after.
Absolutely. Is there a better way to die? Come on.
Look, last year I went down for Usher and then the Frankie Beverly tribute. I stayed over an extra day. I flew straight to Mexico for 2 weeks. And I was dead the first 2 days I was in Mexico.
Listen.
You're like, these are not real problems, Dimitri.
These aren't real problems. These aren't real problems. Listen, you come, you celebrate your birthday here, take a couple days, and then you celebrate it elsewhere.
I will look into this plan upon next year, okay? I'll give you that.
Yeah, plenty of cancers on the ground. I'll tell you that. I got a lot of cancer love. And even within our organization, Richelieu's birthday is July 1st. So he's going to turn up on his birthday. So I
think I was at one of his birthday parties last year, the Four Seasons.
I bet you were in the tent. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm telling too much. Well, that cleared up very many things. There were a couple things that I didn't ask him about. Just because like doing an interview and just overwhelming people with like, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? I try to stick to like the bigger stuff. I also am mindful that literally the festival wrapped on Sunday night and I'm recording this on Wednesday morning. It's not really enough time to sit back and figure out all the things that went wrong and create a action plan for how to fix them, to address all of the concerns that have been coming up about the festival. I do want answers, but I also just, I'm realistic about what resolutions are going to be available at this point. The most encouraging thing to me, though, is that Essence is very aware of the feedback. If you think you're not being heard, you are. Like it's hard to miss, as I said during the interview. So you have your facts directly from the source. I hope that conversation clears up misconceptions and answers some of the questions that you might have had about festival. And in the meantime, today is my birthday. I don't think I'm going to the beach today. I think I'm going to go to the pool. The pool has an amazing view. I'm not in America. Well, technically, I'm in the Virgin Islands. I'm going to go sit by the pool and look at the ocean, which is like the most beautiful shade of blue. I love this country. I'm going to do that with like a bottle of champagne. And then, I don't know, I had these shrimp tacos yesterday. The lobster curry place that I wanted to go to for my birthday isn't open. It's worth the wait. That's fine. I flew all the way down here for it. I can wait another day. Maybe I'll have Italian tonight. Or not. I don't know. I'm going to eat something good because there's no bad food on this island. It's Black people. They season everything. All right. I'll talk to you maybe later this week, maybe next week. Who knows? All depends on the news cycle. All right. Talk soon. Bye.